I'm going to do an insight today. Um, a lot of sort of stuff around, sort of like people talk about the inner and the outer world. I've had a couple of sort of like where I feel like guidance or experiences around the inner and the outer world, and about being centered, remaining in your energy, and remaining in your light, which is so important at this time, especially with so many things manifesting and sort of being created on the planet with this shift in energies. Is so important at the moment, and I just want to talk about that a little bit today. I mean, I've woken up a bit lately where I feel like sort of things like that, where you can be sort of end up sort of being distracted by the outer world, is where you feel like you need to control things and you need to be in control of them. And actually, what happens is you end up being connected to the outer world, which is like the materialistic world, like the physical world, and you start sort of being connected and being directed by that, but also driven by that. So it's like you get up, you start looking at things that you know that you need to worry about. You start looking at the future. You start looking at things that are going on in your life, and you before you know it, you're transported to that outer world, where you start becoming sort of manipulated by that, by the energies, which is a lower frequency. Again, it's connected to this third dimensional reality, which is very much around the physical world, and it's very much around the materialistic world, and it's very much around sort of a lot of the energies that are happening externally. And what I've found over the last couple of days is like I've talked about having this vision of like where I was given this blue sapphire by Archangel Michael, and I was given this green sapphire by Archangel Raphael as well. But also, as soon as I go into this energy more and more, I'm being directed to remain centered and remain in your own energy, in your own light. And it's sort of like the message is really saying about that you have no control over the outer world. All you have control over is your own light and your own frequency. And this is what I feel as we're being sort of like directed to concentrate on at the moment. Very much around sort of being in your own energy, in your own energy field, which I've talked about this before. But when I remain centered in that energy, I feel at peace. I feel connected to self and connected to source. But it's also about, again, it connects to this sense of like, so you got the ascended master, which is Almora, who talks about this divine will and talks about this divine energy and this divine mind, or this divine intelligence. And Almora brings this, it awakens you to this divine sort of energy, this divine source, and this divine intelligence that guides and directs our lives. And if we remain sort of connected to that, then we remain connected to our intuition as well, like our higher expressions of ourselves, where we can remain centered, but also remain sort of walking through the world, like with this sense of connection, but this sense of sort of being directed, but also seeing synchronicities and seeing the communication of the divine energy that is within each of us. But it also remaining in that energy, you can start to flow through things. And it also it relates to things like time, and like the fact that time is linear in that way, or it's sort of like it's an illusion. The fact that we get connected into things externally, and we end up being caught up in those lower frequencies. And what we do is we become unconscious, and we remain in that frequency. So something's worrying us in life. So what we do is we get like we're already connected within ourselves, and then we end up being, our energy ends up going externally outside, and ends up being connected to something like a problem, or an issue that you know we've got in our lives. And something like that we can't do a lot about, or it's external stuff that you know that's very much on that lower frequency. And what we do is we get caught up in that, and we become unconscious, and we forget that connection. And what happens is when we get caught up in that, what we tend to do is we're not open, we're not flowing with the universe. What we're doing is we're not closed down from the universe, but we're not conscious, we're not open to it, so we're not seeing the support or the guidance or the synchronicity or the communication. What we're doing is we're just getting caught up in that energy of worry or doubt or fear or control, all these kind of things which are very much lower frequencies. So I've woken up with this today, and you know, I got caught up in a few of these frequencies before. I've just been on holiday for a couple of weeks, but I've got caught up in these frequencies where, you know, I was very much feeling like I was being sort of like I was very much being pulled by these energies, And what I'm sort of like being called or being asked to sort of like do now within my own guidance is remain in that center, because everything is very sort of like it only lasts for a second. It only remains when you remain with it. Also, one of the lessons was about reality, and it's like I said that I had this kind of vision the other day, or I was listening to something the other day, and it was very much talking about like somebody's talking about vision, like a big bird and a little bird, and it was saying that how they were being manipulated by other people and situations and events. You have no control over other people's free will. You have no control over other people's actions. All you can do is try and remain centered in your own. And if you remain centered in your own actions and your own energy, then your flow and things will dissolve really quickly. The thing is, we get attached to something and then we latch onto it, and then we're in it, and then we become sort of caught up in something. And this is very much what the message they were trying to say to me the other day as well, when about like being powerful and powerless. It also connects to, like, again, I keep talking about this threefold flame, which is like you've got a blue, a pink, and a yellow. And the yellow is about wisdom, but it's also about illumination. And then you've got the pink, which is very much around sort of love, harmony, balance, peace. And then you've got the blue, which is very much this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, but it's the power, it's that divine energy, that's divine essence that drives us. And when we're connected to that, we're able to sort of move through things really quickly. And just realize that it's something that happens, and it's transient. It happens, then you move through it. And the more you sort of like start to dissolve these lower frequencies, the more you start to remain in your own energy. And this is what this time's about at the moment. It's very much sort of trying to move past that. And I feel that quite strongly at the moment, within my own journey, and I think a lot of people are going through this in their own realities and their own experience. But that's another key point. Like, reality is a key point, because reality is sort of like manifested or created by your thoughts. Your thoughts are living, breathing energy, and the reality that you experience is around your conscious thought. So the universe is only mirroring what you're creating. Any kind of sort of like where you feel stuck, is a lot of it can come down to your own thought processes and how your energy is being used at that time. Energy is such a creative force, and it only creates what's being manifested, like through your thoughts and through your intentions. So the universe only reflects what's being sort of sent out, and so like the universe is also attracting that. I mean, there are times where the universe is giving you stuff which is karma, which is related to like karmic patterns and cycles in the past. But you're usually aware of that. If there's something that's going on, a certain person, a certain event that seems to be repeating, that can be sort of it can be definitely a karmic pattern, and that wouldn't necessarily be your what you're creating, but the universe is giving you that for your soul to develop and go through a cycle of development and growth. That was another thing, is I was connected yesterday to something called like a cactus quartz, and I was looking into that. It's a crystal I've had in my collection for a long time, and I haven't really looked at it, but it was very much around like cycles of growth. And I felt that was like a really, really important crystal yesterday, and I was drawn to that yesterday. There's lots of things going on at the moment. There's lots of shifts and changes going on within all our realities, but they're just trying to awaken that sort of like that essence, that energy within you. Also, very much at the moment, I feel like there's a lot of light bodies activating, and it's very much around just like, if you remain in yourself and you remain connected to yourself, then you access those higher light frequencies that are within yourself. And I do feel these light frequencies are activating on the planet at the moment and within each of us. And it's just about trying to remain in those. Don't be sort of like dictated to by your thoughts and your feelings, or your mind and your thoughts and your worries and your fears, because that's part of those lower frequencies. Sometimes, it's no good looking to the future, because that's not written yet, and it's not something you can control. You can only if you worry about that, you're creating a space where for those energies to remain connected to you. If you just dissolve and let go of them and try and release things, then you allow the new to come in. It's all about allowing these new cycles of growth to come in, these new cycles of energy coming in. And all we have to do is keep opening up our energy. I've had experiences of this lately, and it's so important just to open up your energy and allow things to flow. The flow of the universe will come into your energy frequency or your energy field when you start to let go. And I know it's a when they say like surrender, but it's like it's not even surrendering. It's just being. It's just remaining in that center. I feel that so strongly today. It's like I've connected into this today, and I've got up, and there's been a few thoughts that I have yesterday. I'm going back to work, and it's like blah 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 blah, blah, and all these things are going in your head, and I've just had to sort of like keep remaining, coming back into my frequency, and this has been going on for months with a lot of us. I feel, and it is definitely with me, but it's also an awakening. This is part of the awakening, and also like with the universal law, I think of correspondence. It's like there's things coming into your life all the time that are there to learn, to move through in lessons, and it's seeing things as a blessing. Not always necessarily seeing things as a problem or an issue. It's a blessing. It's a blessing because it's coming into your life, and it's awakening you. So everything's part of that. So when the more you start to see that, the more you start to see the synchronicities. You see that divine flow coming into your life, and this is what this time's about. So it's very much around opening. I mean, I'm being told to slow things down and just remain in that energy and just try and remain in that moment, because Eckhart Tolle talks about this, like the power of now. When you really sit in the moment, there isn't anything else but that moment, and there isn't any other energy. There's nothing to worry about. There's just this essence and this energy. You feel your own vibration, your own frequency, and this is what this time's very much around. And when you start to open up to that, and you allow the divine flow to come into you, which is what we're all looking for. We're looking for that kind of that harmony and that synchronicity, where things start to flow within a life, and that's how it does it. And this is where this Almora energy comes in again, because once you awaken to that, you start to see that flow in your life. And then once everything starts to flow, then everything opens, and that's when you can start to create as well. You need to be centered, and you need to be open before you can start to create, because the universe will only open up when your energy's open and your energy field's open. Then the universe will start to really feel that. So it's about visioning, it's about intentions, it's about like creative thoughts, all these kind of things. It's very practical, but it's also very important, because we live in a very physical world, so we still need these practical spiritual tools to be able to move this physical world, because we're living in a physical world. Our spirit and our essence and our divine energy is very metaphysical, but we're living in a physical world, so we've got this duality of reality. But it's about sort of like, for me, when I really go inside and I really connect to that inner light, I walk around, I feel light, I feel bright, but I also feel like an energy that flows through me. So it's like it's very very hard to explain, but I always feel like I'm inside looking out. It's like that's how I feel when I'm really in it. So this is how I know that I'm usually connected to those inner realms, those inner light energies, those inner planes of reality, those multidimensional realities, or multidimensional sort of planes of existence. And I know when I'm inside, because the outside world feels like it's there, but it's like it's not connected as well. It is connected, but it's not connected. It's a hard experience to explain, but it's like I'm inside, and there's light and there's energy, and I'm seeing through light, my eyes, but it's like I'm seeing in a different way. I'm seeing with like spiritual clarity, spiritual understanding. It's like I see like I can feel my own light and my own energy, and I'm connected into that, which is infinite. But I'm also connected to the physical reality, but I'm looking out at it. So that reality is not existing on the same vibrations from when I'm within myself, and this kind. So it's like I feel like I'm in a daydream walking around in life, but it's because I'm connected to a different state of consciousness. I'm just connected to a different state of frequency of light, of energy, or different frequency of being. But the outer world, when you connect to it, it's like you come back to earth with a bang. And it's like that outer world, when you connect to that, it's like that frequency lowers, and then you get caught up in everything that's happening outside of you. And that's the lesson. If you're in that inner energy, you're vibrating on that inner vibration. So you're vibrating and connected to your source, but the outer world is still vibrating, but you're not vibrating on the same frequency, so you're not attached to it. As soon as you come down to a lower frequency and you get caught up in worry, doubt, fear, and everything like that, then you get caught up in that reality, that lower frequency, and then you are then connected and attached to that outer reality. So then it becomes heavy, it becomes overwhelming, it becomes draining, all those kind of things. So it's very much, you have to keep walking in that light and that energy. Whatever goes on, you need to, you need to remain and keep coming back to it. And this is what I feel that the guidance is telling me at the moment. You are supported, you're nurtured, you're protected, you've got all the guidance that you need. But it's just about, and that's part of the awakening. The awakening is you wake up and you realize that you're a spiritual entity, you're a spiritual being, or a spiritual light. And that light and that frequency is not the outer world. The outer world is an illusion, the inner world is the true reality. It's also about remaining in your heart and not in your mind, because in your mind there's only limited space, but within your heart there's an infinite expansion of spirit and energy, because it connects you to your essence, and your essence is infinite, as the mind is a very small space compared to your essence. So it's very much around that at the moment, and it's very much around that today. So it's about remaining in your own light, in your own energy, and try and keep connecting and going back to it, because the outer world will keep trying to draw you out into that outer world, into those lower frequencies. There'll be situations, there'll be events that will go on that will connect you to that will try and draw you out. Just try and remain centered. It's very much around centering as well. You need to remain in your heart and remain centered in your own energy, because it's so important at the moment as we start to move through this. And as I feel this, I just feel that everything dissolves. Everything dissolves. There's no worry, there's no future, there's no past, there's nothing but this essence and this energy in it. And this is where we really need to remain. But that's the insight for today.